Hi, it's Tuesday night. I just wrapped up my last vlog, so I thought I'd start with this one. I'm doing it very quick because I don't want to like harbor it on too much. What I'm currently reading is Something in the Air by Susan Enoch, I think. Finally, I'll talk about it more once I've read more, but I'm 21% of the way through. I'm also reading It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey, which I am 64 pages into, which again I'll talk about properly once I'm reading it. And today I went to the bookstore and the library, so I also quickly go over the books that I got there. First and most importantly is The Titan's Tomb and The Tower of Nero by Rick Riordan, which are the 4th and 5th book in the Trials of Apollo series. I've also got some other reads. First I went into the romance section and I got In 5 Years by Rebecca Searle, I think that's her name. And then we have, I believe this is called The Switch by Beth O'Leary. And I also have Valiance by Holly Black, which is the 2nd book in the Modern Fairy Tale series. And then I also got Run Rosie Run by Dolly Parton and James Patterson. But then for book haul, I have 3 new releases by artists that I've read from before, I've loved from before, I liked from before, should be more accurate, and I'm very excited about these new releases. The one I'm most excited for, and I explicitly went to the bookstore for, is Nothing More to Tell by Karen M. McManus. This is her latest release. And then I also have Love on a Brain by Ellie Hazelwood. And then lastly, I have The American Roommate Experiment by Elena Armas. So yeah, that's all I got for you now. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hi, it's Wednesday. I have a reading update for you because I decided to DNF Something in the Air by Susan Enoch. I don't like DNFing books, especially like when I get galas from my gallery. I try to always like see them through to the end because you know they do expect a review from me. But I wasn't vibing with this book. I don't really like either of our main characters. I feel like they were very like selfish and super out of touch with reality, which just made it like really painful to read, and like I don't know, just did not work for me. And then I also just thought, so far I'm like only 23% of the way through, and I already thought this was like getting super repetitive and boring. I just wasn't a big fan of it. The only thing that I liked were the kids in it. And I've been spending the evening just like looking at reviews, because that's always just like the way I decide if I want to DNF a book, just like look at reviews and see what other people thought to see if like things get better or not. And like from the reviews I read, and I've read some spoilery reviews, I don't mind doing that, I just find out that what I don't like in this book just gets worse. And on top of that, there is barely any romance in this book apparently. Considering I picked this up because it's historical romance, it's a little bit disappointing to me. Hi, it's a little later in the evening, but I've been reading It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey, and I'm at page 200, so that's like a couple of pages under the halfway mark. But I thought I'd give you an update on my thoughts on this so far. So this is a adult romance novel following Piper, who is a influencer and a spoiled rich girl. At the beginning of this book, her boyfriend breaks up with her, and kind of to show the world that she isn't sad about his breakup, she decides to throw like this big party. Things go wrong and she ends up in jail, and now her stepfather is really mad at her, so he sends her to this small seaside town from which she in which she was born, and like her mom and her biological dad like are from there, like met there and like had their life there. The mom kind of like moved away from there after the dad died because like she couldn't deal with the grief, so they haven't been there in like years. So yeah, her stepfather decides to like send her back there, and turns out that she and her sister have actually like inherited this like bar that their dad used to own. So they're supposed to like live there, do that with like minimum money for like 3 months, I believe. LCND actually just Piper has to do that, but like her sister Hannah goes along for kind of like support. And there she immediately meets Brendan, who is a fisherman and is very much tied to the small town and wants to defend it. And he immediately like gets the impression of Piper that she is entitled and spoiled, and like doesn't like her very much because of that. And of course, it's a romance between the two, and honestly, as much as it is like technically a hate to love, like the hate goes away very quickly. Like they very quickly like feel like an attraction to each other and like get along. But from where I am now, they are on like their first date, and I'm really liking this. At the beginning I wasn't too sure because I was really liking Piper and Hannah too much. I thought they were just a little bit like too entitled and like also a little bit stupid, which I wasn't enjoying to read. But I feel like at this point they have like I get that you like need a point to go from, but like in this point already I feel like they've grown a little bit already, and like you can really see them put like their minds to work and like using their different assets. And especially with Piper, like she's opened up quite a bit about like some of her insecurities, and it's kind of like more people treating her like she's a dumb entitled like person, which makes her like act that way and think she's nothing more than that. So I think that's also a really interesting discussion going on there. I also really like, because Piper I believe was 4 years old when her father died, so she barely remembers him. So I really like how this book is also like so far kind of like focusing on her trying to like reconnect with her dad in that way, and like finding different things that like kind of connect her to her dad and like bring back memories, I guess, and help find out like that part of her roots. And I really like that aspect of this book. I really love that dynamic between Brendan and Piper. I think they have such a fun back and forth, and I just, yeah, I'm really enjoying this. Hi, it's Thursday, and it's another late night update. But I do have a reading update for you. I finished It Happened One Summer last night, which honestly, I was hoping I could do it, but like still surprised that I actually did it, because you know, before yesterday I was only like 60 pages into this book, so just want to put myself on the back because that's a lot of reading. But I'm giving this 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this. I really liked the romance in this, which I already like gave a hint towards in like my halfway review, but you know, I really loved the dynamic between Brendan and Piper, and I really loved the different interactions that they had. I loved how they like kind of open up to each other and like find comfort in each other, while also just like having fun together, like having fun banter with each other. I really like Brendan and Piper as separate characters. I thought they both had interesting journeys to go through in the book. I love the cast of side characters because I feel like this is like a small town setting a little bit, and it's not like the most small town romancy, but we do get like a lot of like characters from the town that play like, you know, a semi-important part in this, and I feel like that cast of characters really did a great job at just like bringing this town to life. The only thing I didn't really like about this book is why I kept it from giving it 5 stars, the thread conflict. I didn't really like it, especially because throughout the book like Piper and Brendan have established this really good sense of like communicating with each other, and like you know, very openly discussing like, I need you to like be honest with me, to communicate with me, like, you know, that's the way we get through this, like how work through whatever's going on in our lives, and like the complications that come with this relationship is if we like are open to each other. And then like the whole thread conflict was always around them not communicating with each other, and it just but more importantly is that I of course rolled immediately after finishing this book. I immediately rolled to choose my next prompt, and I landed on buildings, which is fortunate because I really wanted to read a library book with this roll, because I haven't read a single library book yet this month, so I wanted to focus on that. And I had several books that fit the building prompt, but the one that I decided on going with is The Switch by Beth O'Leary. Technically, like, we see 2 doors and like a little stop in between, so it's not super building-y, but like I feel like it counts. And also, just quickly, the galley I've decided to start is The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson, which I am not far into at all. I'm like halfway through the first chapter, so not even, I think I'm like just started it, but just wanted to let you know that I'm also reading that. Hi, it's another late night update. But I did finish The Weight of Blood by Tiffany D. Jackson. This was not planned, but this is a YA horror novel. It's a Carrie retelling, and basically we started this book with like this podcast about this massacre that happened during prom in a small town, and they think this, like, basically it is this wide theory that this one girl was behind it named Maddie, and she's biracial, but like she kind of was forced by her father to hide the part about her that she's black, but then like one day gets discovered, and like that starts off the whole chain of events of this book actually. And yeah, that's kind of all I have to say for like a synopsis, because even the synopsis on Goodreads goes much more in depth, but I feel like it's more fun just knowing that. Not fun, but it's like more intriguing, I think, just knowing that, and like then just being swept away by the story, because that's what I did. The only thing I knew about this book is that it was a Carrie retelling, and I don't know much about Carrie, so I was just swept away by this book and its journey, and I inhale read it. Like the only reason I didn't read it season 1 sitting is because I was falling asleep last night, like right above it, because I was just so tired. But it just is so good, and I have a hard time explaining my thoughts on it exactly, but just know I get a 5 out of 5 stars. I think this was amazing. It's so well written. I really loved seeing like this podcast, and we also got like excerpts of this book that was written like about this situation and like the theories around it. And then we also got like testimonies from survivors like more towards the end of the book. And I thought all of those elements added to like the extra, like the main plot storyline, I guess. I thought that was really interesting and an interesting way to frame the story. I also really liked how from the beginning you know what happens. You know what like the massacre is, what happened at this on this prom night. You know that. You know like those facts, but like the whole lead up to it and like how come people think Maddie did it and like the whole story behind it is kind of like the mystery of this book, and it's what keeps you reading. And it was such an interesting read, and I really loved it. Also horrifying. I felt was on the edge of my seat this entire time because it is a horror, and it was just so well done, so well written, and I'm definitely checking out more with Stephanie D. Jackson in the future because I have read Blackout, in which she wrote like one of the stories, but I haven't. This is my first like proper novel by Stephanie D. Jackson, and I've heard amazing things about her books, and I'm definitely like going to check out more about her because this was so well done. On a lighter note, I have started the Switch by Beth O'Leary today. I got 76 pages into this one, but I'm planning to read a little bit more of this before going to bed. And then my hold for Under One Roof came in, and I started that. I don't know how far in I am though. I think I'm on chapter 3 or something, but yeah, that's that. And I'll talk to you later. Bye. Yes, I'm here again. How are you doing? You're here because I am halfway through The Switch by Beth O'Leary. As you can tell, it is 156 pages. It's about halfway through. I just stopped at like the end of a chapter. Yes, I haven't told you what it's about. I think this one is about Lena, who a year ago her sister passed away, and in this year she has been working so hard until one day at a big like meeting she gets a panic attack and kind of like blows everything, and her company forces her to take off 2 months of paid leave. She at first doesn't really know what to do with this because working has been a way of coping for her. And then one day she goes to visit her grandmother who lives in like a small town, and the grandmother has recently separated from her husband and is now kind of looking for like a new adventure, a new romance, and she doesn't really having a lot of luck in a small town. So Lena suggests for her grandmother to go to London together with Lena where she lives to like find more eligible men, I guess, as well as just have the grand adventure that she wants. But her grandmother like has a lot of responsibilities in a small town, so Lena offers to like stay in a small town in her place, so like they switch homes basically. And yeah, dual perspective, and I am liking this, but also I'm a little bit bored. Not a whole lot has happened yet so far. And before going into this, I expected to prefer one perspective over the other, and I do, just not the one that I expected. I really expected I would love Lena's perspective more, just because I love a small town setting, and I do really like the small town setting. I'm just not a big fan of Lena. I feel like she's very like self-centered and like doesn't want to admit that she can do something or she's won in certain situations, and that's just not fun to read. And I'm absolutely loving Eileen's perspective. I really like seeing kind of like her like figuring out dating again after all these years of being married, but also at the same time she is doing like a bunch of like different small projects like she used to do in a small town to make things easier and better for the people around her, and I'm really loving that as well. Hi, it's me again. But we've crossed midnight, which means I'm technically filming on another day. Is the last day, but I haven't got to sleep yet. But I finished The Switch by Beth O'Leary. I ended up giving this 2 out of 5 stars. I find it hard to review this one because like the only feeling I have about this book after finishing it is just it's fine. Like I don't feel any strong way about this like at all. There are some elements to it that I liked. I liked different character developments. Both of the main characters were not in this book. I thought that was really interesting, and seeing that growth there I really liked. On top of that, I said this before, there's some cute romances in here that very much at the back burner of this book, but still worth mentioning that it's there, and I liked it. And I also really love the cast of side characters. It's a very large cast of side characters, but I feel like they bring this book to life. But at the same time, like, not a lot happens in this. It's a very like slow book, and it's not really a memorable one. I of course had to do another wall because, you know, I finished a physical book and I landed on community shelf again. So I spun my wheel and I landed on the sequel prompt, which I am so excited for because that means I can finally read The Tyrant's Tomb by Rick Riordan. I'm so excited to continue on with the series. And yeah, this is the fourth book in the Trials of Apollo series, which I can't tell you a whole lot about because it's a follow-up series to Percy Jackson and the Heroes of Olympus. I am so hyped to read this, so I'm very excited to finally get to it. Hi, how are you doing? I can film in daylight, but we're here to upload the vlog. I have something to talk to you about because I didn't actually start The Tyrant's Tomb yesterday. I'm planning on reading this next because I was super hyped, but yesterday I just for some reason didn't really feel like reading, so I watched a bunch of movies instead, and I read a little bit of Under One Roof. I got to page 64, but yeah, that's this week's reading. I finished 2 physical books and I finished also The Rain of Blood, so that's technically 3 books, which is impressive. Yay me. And I really like these, even though this is my lowest rated one of the bunch. I still liked what I've been reading, so I would call this week a success. Vlogging wise, reading wise, it's going great. So hopefully I'll be able to continue on with that success next week, but we're gonna discover it together, so see you then. Here I am again, the same old situation. Why does the God thing have to be so complicated?